Imagine that you're sitting in class on a normal school day and the principal comes on loudspeaker stating that your school is on lockdown. Across the hall, you begin to hear firing of a gun and the screams of your peers. This is what the students of Columbine High School experienced in Columbine, Colorado on April 20th, 1999. Today I'm going to inform you about what happened during the Columbine High School massacre and the impact it had on the community. I completed research about the massacre at Columbine and the shooters involved. Today I will cover the background of the shooters, the day of the massacre, and the impact this incident had on the community. I would like to begin by discussing the backgrounds of the ones who were involved the day of the Columbine High School shooting. The mass slaughtering was caused by two male shooters named Eric Harris and Dylan Kelbold. Throughout high school, both Eric and Dylan were targets of bullying and only had each other as friends. Eric was born in Wichita, Kansas, April 9th, 1981. Eric and his family were always up and moving due to his dad's employment as a transport pilot in the Air Force. The Harris family moved from New York to Littleton, Colorado in July 1993. Dylan Kelbold was born in Lakewood, Colorado, September 20th, 1981. As Dylan was growing up, his family described him as a very shy teenager who was intrigued by technology. During high school, Eric and Dylan developed a hatred towards their school and the people in it. Months prior to the shooting, Eric and Dylan recorded a disturbing video about what they wanted to do to their peers. Investigator Michael Gura stated that they have been planning this attack for a year and had even made threats on their online website of who they were going to target. Now that we discussed the backgrounds of the perpetrators, we will now talk about the day of the massacre and the victims who were wounded and murdered. Eric Harris and Dylan Kelbold had been filling their trench coat and duffel bags with their own weapons before they arrived at school. According to CBS News, the first attacks were on students outside during their lunches. Students in the cafeteria heard gunfire, and the attack on the Columbine High School had begun. At 11:25, students hid under cafeteria tables, hoping that their lives would be taken away from them. Shooters Eric and Dylan killed 2 students and wounded 6 as they entered the school, not including the ones that they took life from outside of the school. Their next targets were the students in the library. Around this time, the SWAT team and the police were already there. The SWAT team entered the building furthest from the library 2 minutes after Dylan and Eric committed suicide at 12:08. By 11:35 a.m. on April 20th, 1999, Dylan and Eric killed 12 students, including a teacher, and wounded 23 others. We talked about the background of the shooters Eric and Dylan and the day of the massacre. I would now like to discuss the impact the shooting had on not just the community, but the world. Ever since April 20th, 1999, schools around America have changed their outlook about how they could prevent this from ever happening again. This increase in communication among students and teachers and also increased awareness where the school is more aware of their surroundings. Many people are still grieving over the loss of their family and friends. April 20th, 2016 marked 17 years since the Columbine shooting, and at 11:20 a.m., students and teachers hold a moment of silence for the ones that they lost their lives to on this tragic day. Now I would like to close with the following statements. We have specifically looked at the background of the shooters, the day of the tragedy, and how successfully informed you about the Columbine shooting. This tragedy changed the outlook on how we should enforce the importance of fire drills. There is still currently a large amount of school shootings, and about 142 since the incident of Columbine. This just shows that we never know what every day consists of or what anyone is thinking. Just know that having a good, kind heart can maybe change someone's life and their outlook. I would like to thank you all for listening to my speech, and I really hope that you guys have a good day.
Hey, my girl.